The following is a production of WCMP Sports. It's time for high school basketball action here on WCMP. Tonight we'll see the Pine City Dragons getting set to battle the Braham Bombers. Tip-off is coming your way shortly, but now we send it to the court for the pregame. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's broadcast of high school basketball here on WCMP, 106.5 FM, AM 1350, and of course live with video on WCMPradio.com. I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman, and I'll be bringing you all the action from this boys basketball game here in the Great River Conference between the Braham Bombers and your homestanding Pine City Dragons. These two teams played earlier in the season over in Braham with the Dragons getting the victory there. I think it was 80-50 something. I can go and check right now, actually, as we'll take a look at both of these teams coming into tonight's game, starting with the visiting Braham Bombers. They play in the Section 5A East right now, and they're sitting at 5th in that section of 5A East. And as we look at the playoffs, as they're only a month away, they'd be traveling to Kaleidoscope Charter for their opening round of the playoffs. So not a bad destination to go, but certainly still going to be tough. And this section is very interesting this year. It's very up and down. Section 5A East is you've got the top 4 teams who have winning records. After that, no one has a winning record, but you can certainly bet that those teams are going to be battling very hard once they get into the playoffs, and they will at the as they go through the rest of this regular season. So again, right now, Braham sitting at 5th. I don't know if there's any way that they can catch 4th in Kaleidoscope Charter, as they're 1-1 in the section at 10-7. Maybe there is, because Braham, believe it or not, is 4-4. So 4 of their 5 wins have come in the section here this year. So that is boding well for them. And Braham right now, again, being able to come here to Pine City for their second matchup on the year, trying to get an upset on the road over this Pine City Dragons team here this evening. And again, 4-4 in the section, 5-12 overall. So 4 of their 5 wins on the season have come in section play. As we take a look at those wins, the first one came against Ogilvie after opening up the season 0-5, and they lost 2 straight and won 3 in a row. And 3 in a row against section opponents, Uppsala, St. John's Prep, and Mille Lacs. They won those 3 straight, and then they lost another 4 straight before winning over Renshaw 90-66, and then they just unfortunately lost last Thursday to Ogilvie 78-66. So that's a tough one for them, as they beat Ogilvie earlier in the year and then they lost to them here this late in the season. Not what you want if you're Braham, because again, that does not help you section-wise, because Ogilvie is a section opponent. Also, they are a conference opponent as well. So for Braham, trying to get back on track here with a win here this evening. As we look at the rest of their schedule, they will play East Central twice in the conference, Mille Lacs, and that is it for their conference play. So 4 if you include tonight's game this evening between the Dragons and Braham Bombers. They'll have 4 more, again, including this one. So they will try to improve their win record, especially in the conference, with one here tonight. They will have a tough game, though, coming up on Friday, as they will travel to East Central for that game against the Eagles, and the Eagles trying to wrap up this conference and grab a Great River Conference title. And looking at the Braham schedule as we continue on, East Central, and then next week they will play Mille Lacs, McGregor, and East Central once again. That's a Saturday game. And then as we look at the week after that, 2 games versus Carleton and Hill City, and they'll wrap up the season against Floodwood and Maple Lake. So I would say more of a favorable schedule down the stretch here, except for those 2 East Central games. Those will be tough-fought games for Braham here, but I think Braham has a chance to really go on a nice run and end the season with a pretty darn decent record. And I mean, out of the 9 games that they have, they could really go 6-3, 7-2 in those games. So they could really wind up with close to 500, if not at 500 record by the end of the season. As we look on the other side to the Pine City Dragons, who play in Section 6 AA, just pretty much an unfair section because, again, Pine City has a 10-9 record, 3-1 in the section, and they're all the way in 11th. Yeah, they're behind a 7-10 team in Foley, but Foley has had a pretty darn good season as well. In this section, again, it is just ridiculous. You look at below Pine City, it's tough to kind of pick out any team that is quote-unquote bad because they're all pretty good. You got Rush City there as well, so it's going to be an interesting end to the season for all of these teams, Pine City included. And Pine City on the season, again, 10-9, 3-1 in their section. And their most recent loss came last night against St. Francis, 81-52. But they won last Thursday up in Mille Lacs, 62-30. As we take a look at the end of Pine City's schedule, as we look from today, they've got about 7 games left with tonight's game included. And it'll wrap up this week for Friday with them in Malacca. Then they'll start next week on the road in Ogilvie. Then they'll host Spectrum next Friday. Then they will host after that Mora on Tuesday, February 21st. And they'll travel to Hinkley Finlayson the 23rd. And then their final game of the season at home against Esco, the last day of February 28th, Tuesday versus Esco. And right now they are the 11th ranked team in Section 6 AA. And if that were to stay this way, they would go on to play the 6th ranked team in Section 6 AA in the first round of the playoffs. So as we take a look at who that would be Melrose. Melrose, who is 11-6 on the year, 2-2 in the section. So as we get closer and closer to playoffs, we start taking a look more and more at kind of the standings, the section standings, and who's going to play where possibly and who could play where. And again, we've got a ton of what ifs and maybes, and it's all going to really come down to this stretch of last couple games. Well, I should say close to 10 games for these teams here at the end of the season. So again, even though we've got about a month left in the season, it should still be a fun game tonight between these two teams. Again, anytime you get a conference game between teams, it is always a really fun, riveting matchup to watch, and I'm expecting no different here tonight between these two teams. Again, Pine City 7-2 in their conference so far this year. They are hoping for an East Central loss this evening, because if they could get an East Central loss, they would need East Central to lose one more game. Pine City would have to win out, but they could reclaim that conference title and bring it back to Pine City. But right now, it is East Central's for the taking, and East Central will be in Rush City tonight. Last time they played, East Central was all over Rush City. But in Rush City, that can be a completely different game. Oh, we are just getting set for our national anthem and our starting lineups to be announced, and we'll take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have our national anthem sung, our starting lineups announced, and we'll be set for tip-off here in this boys basketball game between the Dragons and the Braham Bombers. You're listening to Boys Basketball on 106.5 FM AM 1350 W.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a 4-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer, that signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on-site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat, and they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
This high school sports season, Wellia Health wants to remind you that they want to help your athletes stay in the game. Sports medicine services are available at every Wellia Health campus. Whether it's the young athlete, the weekend warrior, or the accomplished athlete, injuries can happen. Get back in the game by calling the sports medicine experts at Wellia Health, 320-679-1313. Wellia Health. Live life well.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Isanti has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment. Highway 65 in Isanti. Or visit minnesotaequipment.com.
Hey, I'm Chad Greenway. When I was playing, I loved chasing down running backs. But you shouldn't have to chase your bank around when you're buying a home. Franzen Bank and Trust Mortgage Consultants will be with you stride for stride, like a linebacker on a running back, from pre-approval to closing and beyond. Let Franzen Bank guide you through the mortgage process. Learn more at franzenbank.com/get there. Franzen Bank and Trust. Real people, real results. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
No appointment? No problem. Injuries and feeling ill don't always happen during normal business hours. That's why Wellia Health has urgency services open 7 days a week. Urgency Services in Pine City offers the care you need when you need it. Hours are now 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. No need to call or make an appointment. Just stop in. When tomorrow isn't soon enough and normal business hours just won't do, you can count on Wellia Health to be there for you. Live life well at Wellia Health.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a 4-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
Back here at Pine City High School, home of the Dragons, as we take a look at your starting lineups here this evening for the Braham Bombers, who are head coached by Jeff Eklund. It'll be number 1, Jake Tepley. Number 5, Tyler Eklund. Number 12, Caleb Schusted. Number 24, Lyle Nelson. And number 44, Bryson Lotz. The Bombers wearing their away white uniforms, their blue numbers and letters outlining gold. And then the Dragons, head coached by Kyle Allen. It'll be number 14, Isaiah Haas. 23, Luke Wilson. Number 24, Lamont Sidney. Number 31, Mason Charles. And number 32, Riley Cummings. The Dragons wearing their home green, their white letters and numbers outlined in black. And the Dragons starting lineup, believe it or not, all seniors. Haas, Wilson, Sidney, Cummings, and Charles, all seniors there. So a big senior group again this year for Pine City. They had a decent-sized senior group last year as well. As the Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard shows 18 minutes up on there. Custom braces are Invisalign with 3 locations at Pine City, Lindstrom, and Cambridge. EmbraceMN.com. The Dragons getting out onto the court with the Braham Bombers. There's the whistle, and we are underway as Riley Cummings wins the tip, and he'll give it off to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson in the front court, trying to drive inside, puts his back to the defender, tries to get around the defender, puts up a layup. It's up and in for 2, an early 2 there for Luke Wilson. And this inbound gets to Tepley. Tepley, a very, very talented football player. He'll be playing at the next level sometime, as he is only a junior, so he's got 1 more year to just perfect his craft. I was able to last year have a conversation with him, and very, very smart, very kind young man, as Bryson Lotz inside, spins around, puts up and in for 2. Lotz, a junior as well. So both teams get 2s on the board early, and Dragons have it in their front court. It's Luke Wilson on the far side. Wilson works to the top of the key, gives it off to Charles. Charles in trouble. He'll hand it to Luke Wilson, who comes to the near side corner. Wilson going to drive inside. Tried to put up a shot, but it was blocked. I didn't see if that was Lotz or if that was Tepley. And now a shot from 3, no good. A rebound here by Caleb Schusted. He has 1,000 points in his career. He just got that recently this year. Schusted gives it to Tepley. Tepley on the far side to Nelson. Nelson wants to go inside, but he will to Lotz. Lotz guarded well, and Lotz a pretty big body. He'll give it off to Tepley. Now in the near side corner to Eklund. And that ball is tipped and nearly stolen away, but the Braham Bombers still hold on to it. Lotz will pick up a rebound there on the shot, no good from Eklund. And the ball goes out of bounds, and it will stay, I believe, with the Bombers. Maybe. We'll see. Yes. So the Bombers will hold on to it. This ball gets inbounded here to Nelson on the near side. He's double teamed, going to have some trouble getting it out of there. And Tepley, who got it away from Mason Charles, who nearly got the steal and then keeps it alive. And the Bombers will reset. Eklund gives it off far side to Lotz, and now this one's stolen away by Isaiah Haas quickly up the court here to Luke Wilson, who puts it up. No good, but he was fouled, and he'll go to the line and shoot two, and Wilson comes up limping. And again, never want to see anybody hurt, but he comes up limping there, and not great. That foul, by the way, went on Lyle Nelson, and first one drops through for Luke Wilson, and we'll see how, I think it's an ankle that bothers him right now. Second one is no good, and Wilson only makes one of two to make it 3-2. Here comes Eklund on the near side, trying to get around the defender Charles. Nearly loses his dribble again, and that is one of another few times that, Caleb Schusted may have not quite a travel, but I think they're going to get a foul here on Pine. Going to get Lamont Sidney. First team foul for the Dragons now as Eklund will look to inbound. He gets it inbounded here to Schusted for three, and that's through. Caleb Schusted on the near side corner for three to make it 5-3. Here comes Luke Wilson. Ankle doesn't seem to be bothering him anymore as now he's getting a screen. He'll give it to Haas. Haas back to Wilson. Wilson on the far side trying to drive in, and that ball could have been kicked, but Tepley will get the steal, but stolen right back by Lamont Sidney, who puts it up and in for two, plus an and one, I believe, is coming. So Lamont Sidney with two, plus an and one, and that foul will go against, I apologize, I didn't see, it's not against Lyle Nelson. That's going to go against Bryson Lotz. A shot up and no good, and rebounded by Isaiah Haas. A three from Luke Wilson is no good. It's going to go out of bounds, not even hit the net, and the Bombers will get it back. So Mont Sidney no good on his shot, but Isaiah Haas grabbed the rebound, and now Eklund trying to throw it off a defender as he was trapped at that boundary line, and at the baseline, I should say, and he threw it off a defender, but then it wound up going off his own foot out of bounds. So the Dragons will catch a break here. He'll get it inbounded, does Wilson, to Isaiah Haas. Haas goes to Charles, and Charles has to... Ooh. On the far side, they're going to say Charles' last touch out of bounds, but I think Tepley may have been the last one to touch it there. But either way, the Bombers, they'll get it back. So a bunch going neither way right now. As Jeff Eklund, that's the head coach. I'm assuming his son, Tyler Eklund, who will put it up and in for two after getting his own rebound. And now the Bombers lead 7-5. Luke Wilson on the near side. This Dragon team trying to erase their loss from last night against St. Francis. Had a really good first half against St. Francis, but then the height of St. Francis really came into play. Lyle Nelson with the steal here. Gets it off to Tyler Eklund, who now gets it to Tepley. Tepley for three. It's a high arcing shot off the mark, and Lamont Sidney will grab the rebound. Quickly up the court to Luke Wilson. He had Lamont Sidney wide open for three, and he'll give it back to Lamont Sidney for three. His shot is no good. A rebound here by Isaiah Haas. It was kept in play by Mason Charles. That three going to be no good from Luke Wilson, and kept alive by Riley Cummings, and then swatted away to Tyler Eklund. It could have been a foul there on Braham, but now I think we're going to get a foul on Pine City. It will be on Isaiah Haas. Ashton Seals, A.J. Austinson check into the game. For Pine City. Looks like no changes here for Braham. They lead 7-5 here in the first half as Eklund gives it off far side to Nelson. Nelson tries to go inside. It's stolen away here by A.J. Austinson. Austinson brings it up the court. Tries to go through a double team. Puts it up and in for two. Call charge on, on Austinson. This is why I need Mr. Joe Lattimore with me, because he'd be able to tell me why exactly that is a foul. 7-5. As now the Braham Bombers quickly go inside to Bryson Lotz for 2, and a great pass there from Jake Tepley to get it inside, and now they lead 9-5. Luke Wilson, he's having a tough time right now getting around Lyle Nelson, and can't help but to think maybe that ankle is bothering him a little bit. A.J. Austinson gets a screen from Ashton Seals. He'll go to off far side to Isaiah Haas. He'll try to, and that pass a little low, and he's unable to corral it. It's going to go out of bounds, and Pine City trails by 4, and no time to panic. It's way too early, but you just can't help but to feel like this already kind of in the favor of Braham early on. Even though they only have a 4-point lead, it still just feels like Braham kind of not necessarily running away with it, so to speak, but they definitely have an advantage. As now we're going to get a whistle here on Braham, and I think they stepped out of bounds or no foul call. So just a toe out of bounds, and the Dragons will take it back up to their own front court. Luke Wilson wants to drive inside, wanted to give it to Cummings. He looked at him for a moment, but gives it off to Austinson. Now back to Wilson. Wilson gets a screen from Cummings. Wilson at the top of the key. He'll give it off, well, tried to give it off on that far side to Isaiah Haas, but the ball was knocked out of bounds by a Bomber defender. Luke Wilson will look to inbound. He will to Isaiah Haas on that far side corner. Haas will give it off to Austinson. Austinson guarded well by Eklund. He gets a screen. He's going to drive inside, give it off on the near side corner to Haas. Haas wanted to drive inside, now to Cummings. He'll give it back to Wilson. Wilson's going to lose it, and it will go out of bounds. Last touch by the Braham Bombers. Poked out of bounds there by Lyle Nelson. And Wilson having some trouble getting around Lyle Nelson right now. Again, doesn't look like that ankle bothering him, but you can't help but to think that it may be a factor. Say Haas look to drive inside. Instead gives it off to Austinson. Far side for 3. A.J. Austinson for 3 to make it a 1-point deficit now for the Dragons as Braham will take it up. That was a long offensive possession there for Pine City, and that's got to make them feel pretty good. Bryson Lotz inside. He's been a strong presence inside today as he puts up a shot too strong off the glass. That one's no good again as he got his own rebound, but that time Haas with the rebound as Luke Wilson takes it up the court. He gives it inside, wide open for Riley Cummings. Beautiful pass, and they tried to double team Wilson as he drove inside, but they left Riley Cummings wide open underneath for 2. And that gives the Dragons a 10-9 lead. Again, no time to panic for either of these teams. This one's close. Lotz will give it to Schusted, now near side for Tepley. That's off the mark. Oh, a foul on Braham? .24. Trying to get Lyle Nelson for a push there. And we got a couple new guys checking in for the Braham Bombers. 2 and 22. That is Logan Leniz and Lucas Shu. Is that really his name? I feel like there might be a piece missing, but Shu is in the game. Or Shu. I hope I'm pronouncing that half right. Shu or Shu. I apologize if I'm absolutely terrorizing that name. A 2 there the other way for Luke Wilson. And we're going to get a foul call here on Pine City. On Nick Plajic? Yeah. Shot from Shu or Shaw is no good. Rebounded by Lamont Sidney again. I'm hoping I'm getting it half right because, man, that is, I know I know it's not fully correct as we get a shot up there from Lamont Sidney, who puts it up and in for 2 plus the and 1. Let's see who this foul's on, 44. That's going to be on Bryson Lotz, and that'll be their team's 4th. That shot is up and good from Lamont Sidney to make it a 3-point play, 15-9. We have a couple of new players out there. As I mentioned, Nick Plajic, Charlie Osmus also out there for the Dragons. And trying to drive inside is Schusted. He'll decide to take it from just inside the free throw line. His shot is up and no good. Rebounded by Mason Charles. And up the court for Wilson. And he'll give it off to Nick Plajic, who puts it up and in for two. Beautiful pass there from Luke Wilson. And we got a player down. Never want to see anybody hurt. We'll take commercial break.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer. That signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat, and they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
This high school sports season, Wellia Health wants to remind you that they want to help your athletes stay in the game. Sports medicine services are available at every Wellia Health campus. Whether it's the young athlete, the weekend warrior, or the accomplished athlete, injuries can happen. Get back in the game by calling the sports medicine experts at Wellia Health, 320-679-1313. Wellia Health. Live life well.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Isanti has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment, Highway 65 in Isanti, or visit minnesotaequipment.com.
So senior Caleb Schusted, the injured Braham Bomber, he was able to slowly limp his way off the court, and just hope that's nothing too serious. Never, ever want to see anybody hurt out here. And again, we just hope and pray that he is all right. And I don't know, I hope he's able to work himself back into this game, but at the same time, you want him to be healthy enough to continue to play this season and, you know, the next sports season, which is baseball. He's a very talented pitcher, and just hope that he's able to do that. Meanwhile, driving inside, the Braham Bombers cannot score. Instead, it's stolen away here by Mason Charles, who drives the length of the court, puts it up and in for two. What was once a 4-point deficit for the Dragons has turned into a 10-point lead. They were down 5-9, and they've gone on a 14-0 run right now. As the Bombers inbounding here to Eklund, and now near side to Jake Tepley. Back out here to Tanner Doble, who checked in for Schusted. Now going to drive inside, and Shu, no good. Blocked on that one. He'll give it off to Eklund. That ball is tipped out. Lamont Sidney racing after it, and Jake Tepley tried to keep it alive, and Tepley, wow. Tepley's got some speed. I mean, he might have, I want to check his shoes. He might have had some boosters on those. Wow. Unfortunately, unable to keep it alive. No one was there as a teammate to be able to help him, as now Lamont Sidney, top of the key, 4-3. It's going to come up well short, and Braham Bombers will just watch it go out of bounds. And the Bombers will take over. So turnover for turnover that time, and Bryson Lotz will check in for Lucas Shu. Eklund gives it up the court to Jake Tepley. Back to Eklund. Eklund will give it off here to Logan Laniz. Laniz back to Eklund. Now to Tepley. Tepley all the way across court here to Doble. Doble looks to drive inside. Gives it back outside here to Laniz. Laniz for three. No good. Bryson Lotz inside. He's going to be a tough matchup. He gets the rebound. Gives it back outside to Doble. Far side for three. No good. Rebounded that time by Laniz. And Jake Tepley will put it up and in for two. But then we get a whistle. I believe a timeout called. Timeout called here by Pine City. That'll give us a chance to look at that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard with 9.5 minutes to go. The Dragons lead 19-11. Embrace Orthodontics Dr. Sievers is committed to providing world-class orthodontic care in a friendly and comfortable atmosphere. You can start today at embracemn.com. The Dragons lead 19-11. They went on a 14-0 run there to make it a 19-9 lead, but Braham able to cut off that 14-0 run with a basket there by Jake Tepley. The Dragons will have 4 timeouts left in the game, and they'll get it inbounded here to Lamont Sidney. Sidney looks to head coach Allen for the call. He works on Tepley. He drives inside and he travels. Thought he may have been pushed by Tepley, but I think it was more incidental contact than anything. And again, the player always going to want the call, but sometimes it's just incidental contact. And I've seen that plenty of times this year where the players will just kind of come together. Their legs will. It's kind of like I know I draw everything back to football, but it's kind of like a pass interference in football where the two defenders come together and their legs collide, and the defender usually gets the penalty. But here in basketball, they've done a pretty good job of letting it go, realizing, hey, that's just been kind of incidental contact. That time, a block attempt from Lamont Sidney is going to give him his second foul, and Jake Tepley will get to go to line to shoot 2. 5th team foul here on Pine City. Tepley's first one is up, no good. Lamont will check out. Riley Cummings, Isaiah Haas, A.J. Austinson in for Sidney, Wilson, and Plajek. Oh, lots left early. Ooh, they didn't catch it, though. So Tepley makes 1 of 2. Lots got away with one there. And, hey, if you can get away with it, I mean, you can't keep doing it, but as long as they don't catch you, I guess. A.J. Austinson has it now for the Dragons. He'll drive just inside, give it off to Charlie Osmus for 3. That's just off the mark. And Riley Cummings will get the rebound. Give it off to A.J. Austinson for 3, and he hits that one. 22-12 now. Dragons with the lead. 8:35 to go first half. Back and forth Eklund between him and Doble. Now give it off here to Laniz. Laniz to Doble, now to Eklund, now to Laniz. Laniz near side, double teamed, and that ball's going to go out of bounds off of a Dragon. Inbound here, back to Laniz. It goes through the legs of Eklund, and Osmus will get the steal. Osmus will give it back out to A.J. Austinson. Austinson looks for a screen and almost got a double dribble that time, but he managed to keep that hand away. He'll get the screen from Cummings. He'll now drive to the far side, give it off to Osmus. Osmus, he'll look to drive inside himself. He'll give it back to Cummings, now to Austinson. Austinson, far side, driving inside, and he had a lane, but it closed quickly. He'll give it to Mason Charles. Mason Charles will drive inside, back outside to Osmus, back inside to Cummings. Cummings, back outside, top of the key to Charles. Charles outside to A.J. Austinson, a long 3, almost fell through, and I think now we're going to get a foul on Mason Charles, and Kyle, I'm pretty adamant that there should have been a foul on Braham, and I think he may have had a point. I think he wanted one. I think Austinson may have been fouled late there on that 3, and they didn't catch it. But I did not see clearly, so I'm only trying to assume what Kyle Allen would like to see. This pass inside, stolen away by Isaiah Haas, getting a hand on it is Riley Cummings, but steal officially goes to Haas. Haas will get the ball from Austinson. Haas will take it inside now to Cummings, now outside to Mason Charles, far side for 3, that's off the mark, and A.J. Austinson tried to get the rebound, couldn't corral it, and it will bounce out of bounds. Last touch by him, and it will go back to the Braham Bombers. That's Eklund to Doble, now to Laniz. Laniz back to Eklund. Eklund can drive inside. He'll put up a little floater from the free throw line off the backboard, in for 2. Tyler Eklund for 2. Only a freshman. Very talented freshman, though. A.J. Ossenson almost lost his dribble. He does lose his dribble to Jeff Eklund with the steal, or Tyler Eklund, excuse me. Shot is going to be called off, and a foul is going to be called on Pine City, I do believe. Either way, that'll send him to the line for a 1-and-1. It's going to go on Ossenson, and it should be a 1-and-1. It's a 1. We need to get timeout, I think. Yes. So a timeout called here by Braham. They'll be left with 4 as well. It'll give us another chance to look at that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard with 6:53 to go here in the first half. The Dragons lead 22-14. Embrace Orthodontics helping you find a smile you'll embrace forever. Find out more at embracemn.com. 22-14. Dragons with an 8-point lead over Braham. And again, Braham took this most recent timeout. They'll be left with 4 here in the game. We have 6:53 to go here in this first half. And if you're just joining us, Pine City went on a 14-0 run to erase a 4-point deficit and take a 19-9 lead. And Caleb Schusted currently out of the game with a lower body injury. Not going to assume what it is, but he was able to walk off the court gingerly, and I should emphasize gingerly. But again, we hope and pray that he is okay. Nothing, I never, ever, ever want to see anybody get hurt. And Schusted, a senior, he's got some baseball to play too. A very, very talented baseball player. I believe I was talking to Adam Hefty, and he said he's going to be playing baseball in college. So we hope and pray that he's able to get back out onto the court. But at the line for 2 is Tyler Eklund. Shot is up and good, so he'll get a second chance at it, and has had a 1-and-1 opportunity. And the second one is through as well, so Tyler Eklund makes them both. Makes it 22-16. Charles will inbound to Ossenson. Ossenson brings it up the court. He guarded well by Eklund. He gives off to Mason Charles, and now we're going to get a foul here on Braham. That's going to go against Lyle Nelson. That'll be his third, and Nelson will probably have to sit the rest of this first half, unfortunately. He and Mason Charles kind of got tied up there, and oh no, they're going to keep Nelson in. Interesting. Inbound here to Charlie Osmus. Oh, he probably could have taken it from 3. He'll give it off to Haas. Haas trying to drive inside. Battling. He'll give it out to Cummings. Cummings across the court to A.J. Ossenson. Ossenson finds a lane to the basket. His shot up no good. But a foul, and he'll go to the line and shoot 2. This will be the 6th team foul here on Braham. We're going to call that one on Leniz. His first, team's 6th. And again, Ossenson at the line to shoot 2. First one is through from Ossenson. And thank goodness, that is good to see. Caleb Schusted is back out onto the court. So some of those are just a really bad stinger. It really hurts, and sometimes they're just in there to help the team. So no good on the second from Ossenson, but he makes 1 and 2, and the rebound there by Mason Charles. And Ossenson will take it to the line, to the basket, I should say. No good, but I believe that was Mason Charles. It was. Mason Charles will kind of get a rebound, but kind of just smack it back into the basket for 2. 25-15. Schusted off the backboard, no good. Oh, my goodness, but a rebound and up and in for 2 by Tanner Doble. Riley Cummings could not get his feet underneath him in time, and he fell hard to the court. He's okay. He's up and running. 25-18. Charlie Osmus, far side 3, no good. He was wide open. That was a smart play. And Mason Charles will get the rebound off to Isaiah Haas. Now to A.J. Ossenson. Ossenson will go back outside to Charles. Charles to Haas. Haas, top the key, tries to drive inside, gives it off to Osmus. Osmus for 3, no good. Isaiah Haas going to race for the rebound, but it's going to go right back to Caleb Schusted. Schusted will give it off to Tepley. Tepley up the court, going to take it to the basket. No good, and Riley Cummings will be right there waiting for that one to fall into his breadbasket, as Haas will now give it off to Austinson. Austinson, he'll drive inside, wide open lane to the basket. He puts it up and in for two. An easy drive to the basket there as Braham, I don't think they knew who had the ball at that point or knew where they were driving, because that was probably the easiest basket that Austinson will see all night. This one's stolen away by Riley Cummings, and he gives it off to, could not see who he gave it off to. The shot was no good. Rebounded by Mason Charles. Charles will give it off near side corner for Charlie Osmus for three. 30-18 now in favor of Pine City. Turnovers starting to become a kind of a thorn in the side of Braham right now, as can't seem to hold on to the ball. This ball is tipped and stolen away by A.J. Austinson. Austinson tries to take it to the basket. Off the backboard, no good. Riley Cummings will get the rebound, and he'll put it up and in for two, plus the and one. 17 fouls now for both teams. And we'll get a couple substitutions here. Lotz and Laniz will check in for Tepley. And Nelson. I'm surprised they left Nelson out there with 3 fouls, but. And we will also get another. Shu will check in here for Eklund. Again, Cummings at the line for the possible 3-point play. No good, so only get 2 on that one. And that rebound going to go off of the hands of Lotz and out of bounds. And it will stay with Pine City. And we will get a timeout called here by the Dragons, who lead 32-18 with 4:36 to go on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, your customized smile journey starts with a free consultation. The team at Embrace Orthodontics wants to make your journey as seamless and convenient as possible with custom braces or Invisalign. Find out more at embracemn.com. Right now, leading the way for the Dragons is A.J. Austinson with 9 points on the board so far. The next closest with 5 is both Lamont Sidney and Luke Wilson. Mason Charles actually leads the Dragons right now with 5 rebounds over Riley Cummings, who has 3. They have a multitude of steals right now. They have 8 of them, 8 total steals in this game. 3, though, for Braham. Both teams have 7 team fouls right now, and leading the way for the Bombers is Tyler Eklund with 8. Next closest would be Bryson Lotz with 4, and he is a presence inside the paint for the Dragons, or for the Bombers here, and he's proving to be a problem. But Dragons have kind of, so far later in this game, have kind of cut him off and made sure that he no longer gets any open looks inside. So both teams getting back out onto the court here, onto this timeout. Dragons will be left with 3 now to go in the second half. Inbound here to Lamont Sidney, far side, 3, good. Wow, that was a pretty 3. Lamont Sidney for 3 makes it 35-18. Here come the Bombers. Schusted with it. He'll give it back on the far side to Laniz and tried to give it in, but Shu had that one go and stolen away by Osmus, and this ball was up for grabs on some fingertips. I think we're going to get a foul here on Braham. Really? It'll be interesting. That's on Laniz. His second, team's 8th, and Wilson and his, they get the line for 1-1. I don't think it was a shooting foul. Nope, 1-1. No good off the first, and Lamont Sidney with a strong rebound will put it back up and in for 2. 37-18 is the lead for Pine City. Oh, Laniz nearly traveled, but he does get it off, and now Bryson Lotz inside off the backboard, no good. Rebound by Lamont Sidney, but I don't think that rebound will matter anyways, because we get a foul here on Pine City, their team's 8th. Now, I don't know if that was the shot or after the shot, but A.J. Austinson with his 3rd. Looks like it was a shooting foul, and that one no good there from Bryson Lotz. And checking out of the game is Doble, and in for him is Eklund. Bryson Lotz, he'll get that one to roll home. He'll make 1 of 2. Got to whistle real quick. Luke Wilson races up the court trying to get past Shu, but Shu doing a good job defending, and now Wilson creates a lane for himself. That one's no good, and going to get a tie-up, a jump ball, and possession arrow favors the Braham Bombers. So good job there by Austinson to race him for that rebound, but good job by Shu just to hold on to it. Even though it doesn't matter who got it, because the possession arrow favors the Bombers. That was cool to see by them two trying to battle hard after that one. Shu, a sophomore. Eklund gives it off far side to Shu. Now back to Eklund. Now to Schusted. Schusted looks to drive inside. He'll give it out to Tepley. Tepley guarded well. He'll give it back to Laniz. Laniz on the near side gives it to Shu. Top of the key. Now far side to Eklund. Eklund for three. That's off the mark. And Lamont Sidney will grab the rebound. His long arms help him keep those rebounds and tip it to himself. And now we're going to get a foul here on, I think, Braham again. Again, kind of got a couple of guys kind of just falling. This one's going to go against Jake Tepley for his first, team's 9th. And Schusted up limping again. Well, there's a point where I understand you want to help the team, and man, being a competitor is a great thing, but you gotta watch out for your health and safety. Again, he's a very good baseball player as well, and he's also very tough. He will not check out of this game unless he is physically pulled off and told to go to the bus. Lamont Sidney hit the first one, and he'll hit both. So Lamont Sidney hits them both to make it 39-19 with under 3.5 to go here in the first half. Dragons traveling from right to left on your radio dial. Braham left to right. Braham goes inside to Laniz. Now to Shu. Shu will get it up over everybody and in for two. Shu, a nice shot there. He had to get that one up over the skyscraping hand of Lamont Sidney, and he did a good job. Lamont Sidney breaks the ankles of Shu, but Shu does a good job to get back on defense, and he'll give it off to A.J. Austinson far side. Now, going to get a foul here on Braham again. I didn't see that one. That maybe he got a hand on a hand there. So Austinson's going to go to the line to shoot two, and they're going to get this one on Laniz, his third, so some foul trouble here for Braham. First one is up and good from Austinson to make it 40-21. Osmus and Seals will check out. Cummings and Charles back into the game for Pine City. Austinson's second one is up and no good, but a rebound there by Lamont Sidney to put it back up and in for two. And that should make it 42-21, and now a ball that poked out of bounds. It will stay with the Bombers. Bryson Lotz will check back into the game here for the Braham Bombers. Checks in for Shu, and Schusted will inbound it here to Eklund. Eklund gets past front court, tries to get it off to Schusted, nearly stolen away by Lamont Sidney. Goes inside to Bryson Lotz. It's stolen away here by Isaiah Haas. Oh, and Isaiah Haas gave it off to Lamont Sidney, who tried to dunk it and came up just a little bit short. And Sidney, that would have been one for the highlight reel, and ESPN would have gotten a hold of that one, or Sports Center, I should say. Sports Center, that should have been a top 10, but just a little short. Maybe just footwork a little bit off on that one. 42-21 as Luke Wilson gets the inbound pass initially to Haas, back from him, and now he'll attempt a three. He's short on that one, and Eklund's going to get the rebound for the Bombers. Quickly up the court, Eklund gives it off to Tepley, and Tepley could not get that one as Eklund threw that one just out in front of Tepley. Otherwise, Tepley would have had an easy two, maybe even an and one, as Lamont Sidney was right there, but no chance, and now the Dragons will go back the other way. Luke Wilson on the far side gets a screen from Charles, and Wilson will put up a three. That's off the mark. This ball is tipped up. Trying to get a rebound that time is Isaiah Haas. It's poked away. Out of bounds by Haas, and it will go back to the Bombers. Schusted will get it inbound here to Tyler Eklund. Eklund will go back to Schusted. Schusted quickly up the court. And trying to give it off here to Tepley. He does. Tepley on the near side. Back to Schusted. Schusted couldn't grab it cleanly at first, but pulls it down. Now passes it off to Tyler Eklund. Eklund on the far side here to Laniz. Laniz has that pass stolen away by Isaiah Haas. That's his fourth. He'll give it off to Lamont Sidney. Lamont Sidney near side, trying to go around one defender. Gives it off far side to Mason Charles for 3. That's no good. And Lamont Sidney will come up with the rebound again. My goodness, Lamont Sidney has just been, all over right now. And a steal, maybe, yes, a steal from Mason Charles. That was up for grabs for a while, and now Luke Wilson will give it out to Lamont Sidney for 3. That's going to come up short into the arms of Caleb Schusted. And we're going to get a timeout here for Braham, and I think that's a smart timeout. Kind of settle things down right now. The pace is getting a little in front of both of these teams, I think. So smart timeout here by Jeff Eklund and the Braham Bombers. And we'll take another look at that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard with under 1:10 to go here in the first half. Embrace Orthodontics, they will do all the insurance heavy lifting for you. And if you don't have insurance, you can ask about financing options because they want to help you find a plan to fit your budget at EmbraceMN.com. 44-21 is the Pine City lead, but we have seen that the Braham Bombers can easily and quickly turn this thing on its head and bring it back the other way. And that's what they'll hope to do here in this final 1 minute and 8 seconds to go. First half action. Eklund gets the inbound, but he'll give it off to Laniz. Laniz gets it past Lamont Sidney to Tepley. Tepley tried to go inside to Bryson Lotz. It's just in front of him. Luke Wilson with the steal. Luke Wilson will take it up the court. He's going to try and drive inside himself underneath the basket. He gets around a couple of defenders. It's blocked and knocked out of bounds by Lotz, so it will stay with the Dragons. Lotz right there with a block. I think he's had a couple here in this first half. He's done a really good job just kind of standing right around people and getting his arms up. Inbound pass to Haas, now on the far side for Cummings. Back over to Wilson, and that's a little too strong for Wilson. Might have been just a tad behind him, but will go out of bounds. And Braham will get it back with 48.8 seconds to go here in the first half. Get a substitution here as checking back into the game is Tanner Doble for Lotz. Inbound here to Doble, and he'll give it back to Eklund. Eklund on the near side, throws it. Tried to get it to Tepley, but Lamont Sidney right there to knock it out of bounds. The Braham Bombers will get to do it again. Inbound here to Laniz, and Laniz on the near side wanted to go one way, and Lamont Sidney again right there with the steal. Nice move, couldn't get it to fall, and that rebound falls in the hands of Mason Charles, and now we're going to get a foul call here, I believe, on Braham. This one's going to go against Laniz, his fourth, and he'll sit for a while now, I'm guessing. 4 fouls for Laniz. It'll be Mason Charles at the line to shoot 2 for Pine City with 27 seconds to go. First one is up and good, 45-21. Shot is up and no good. But it's Lamont Sidney who grabbed the rebound and gets back outside to Luke Wilson, and he cannot get it to fall home, and rebounded by Riley Cummings. Meanwhile, Mason Charles made 1 of 2 there. Lamont Sidney has it. He'll give it to Luke Wilson, and it looks like they'll just dribble it out for the last shot here of the half. Luke Wilson gives it back outside to Isaiah Haas, and that's going to be an over and back, so they will not get the last shot. And Braham will get the last shot unless we get a turnover. I'm sure Braham will be careful to not let that happen. Eklund throws it towards the basket. It's no good, and that will bring us to halftime. So the halftime score here inside Pine City High School. The Dragons lead over the Braham Bombers, 45-21 here at half on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, custom braces or Invisalign with 3 locations in Pine City, Lindstrom, and Cambridge. EmbraceMN.com. 45-21 is the lead here for the Pine City Dragons at half. We will take a commercial break. We'll hear a word from our fine sponsors, and when we come back, we'll recap this first half of action, give you our stat leaders and keys to the second half for what I think each team needs to do to grab the victory here tonight. Of course, you're listening to Boys Basketball on 106.5 FM, AM 1350 WCM.
No appointment? No problem. Injuries and feeling ill don't always happen during normal business hours. That's why Wellia Health has urgency services open 7 days a week. Urgency Services in Pine City offers the care you need when you need it. Hours are now 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. No need to call or make an appointment. Just stop in. When tomorrow isn't soon enough and normal business hours just won't do, you can count on Wellia Health to be there for you. Live life well at Wellia Health.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a 4-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer, that signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on-site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat, and they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
This high school sports season, Wellia Health wants to remind you that they want to help your athletes stay in the game. Sports medicine services are available at every Wellia Health campus. Whether it's the young athlete, the weekend warrior, or the accomplished athlete, injuries can happen. Get back in the game by calling the sports medicine experts at Wellia Health, 320-679-1313. Wellia Health. Live life well.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Isanti has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment. Highway 65 in Isanti. Or visit minnesotaequipment.com.
Hey, I'm Chad Greenway. When I was playing, I loved chasing down running backs. Well, you shouldn't have to chase your bank around when you're buying a home. Franzen Bank and Trust Mortgage Consultants will be with you stride for stride, like a linebacker on a running back, from pre-approval to closing and beyond. Let Franzen Bank guide you through the mortgage process. Learn more at franzenbank.com/get there. Franzen Bank and Trust. Real people, real results. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
No appointment? No problem. Injuries and feeling ill don't always happen during normal business hours. That's why Wellia Health has urgency services open 7 days a week. Urgency Services in Pine City offers the care you need when you need it. Hours are now 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. No need to call or make an appointment. Just stop in. When tomorrow isn't soon enough and normal business hours just won't do, you can count on Wellia Health to be there for you. Live life well at Wellia Health.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a 4-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
Back here on 106.5 FM, AM 1350, and of course, WCMPradio.com. The Dragons lead here at halftime in this boys basketball Great River Conference matchup, 45-21. On the Braham Bomber side, leading the way for them was Tyler Eklund with 6, 5 for Bryson Lotz, 3 for both Jake Tepley and Caleb Schusted, 2 for Lucas Schuh and Tanner Doble. Rebound-wise, Eklund, Lotz, and Schusted all had 3. They had 3 steals, 2 blocks, and 10 team fouls. On the other side for the Dragons leading the way was Lamont Sidney with 16 first half points, 10 for A.J. Austinson, 5 for both Luca Wilson and Mason Charles, 4 for Riley Cummings, 3 for Charlie Osmus, and 2 for Nick Plajek. Lamont Sidney had 7 rebounds, 6 for Charles and 4 for Riley Cummings. They had 12 steals here in this first half, a block and 18 fouls. Again, they were down 9-5 here in the first half before going on a 14-0 run. That gave them a 10-point lead at 19-9, and they just started to roll after that. Did Pine City. It's been a really good first half. They got out to a little bit of a slow start, I think you'd say, for Pine City as they trailed 9-5, and Luke Wilson did not get the shots to fall that he would have liked. But I think overall you're happy with how everybody has stepped up. Lamont Sidney, as of late, has really, really stepped up into the player that the Dragons have seen for such a long time, and it's so cool to see him step up the way he has. A very vocal, tough player. He's always willing to go out there and get it done each and every night on the court, whether it's on offense, whether it's on defense, whether it's passing the ball. He quite literally does it all. And again, this entire Dragons team, so unselfish. They just learn to pass the ball around, and they continue to mesh as the season goes along. Again, the story I think that we talk about since the beginning of the season is the fact that this team is basically a new starting 5. The only starter returning from last year was Luke Wilson. So a brand new starting 5 this year for the Pine City Dragons and head coach Kyle Allen, and you got to think that certainly, it has some effect on the game and how it goes. And we've talked to Kyle Allen about it numerous times, and I'm sure it gets old for him talking about it all the time, but it is a story worth talking about, and they continue to go along the season. It's been a tough schedule up to this point and doesn't get any easier after this game, but they continue to mesh and they continue to try and come together and still communicating, still meshing together, still bonding, still trying to be 5 into 1 out there on the court. And then some nights it hasn't gone their way, but you can really see this team has a lot of heart. They have a lot of fight in them. They're not going to give up. They're not going to lay back and just let a loss come their way. They're going to fight to that very final buzzer. And with the tough competition they played this season, that's going to come into play huge once we get into section playoff time here in about a month. Only a month away. It's hard to imagine. Of course, this weekend we start girls hockey action here on WCMP, the girls hockey playoff action, I should say. The girls hockey team, Pine City, will travel to Orono this Saturday. Catch that one on our airwaves. And for playoffs, unfortunately, no video for playoffs, but we will have an audio. I want to thank Andy Beckstrom for making himself available for that game. Appreciate that. Over in Braham, it's the girls' basketball game, the version of the girls' basketball game between the Braham Bombers and the Pine City Dragons. And the Bombers are up at half, 28-26 over the Dragons. This is an important one there for both of those teams, as Pine City holds I believe it's a 2-game lead over a 1-game lead over the Bombers. So Bombers could literally tie themselves at the top of the conference with a win here tonight. So a huge game over there in Braham, and we'll try to keep you updated on that one. Again, thanks to Adam Hefty over there in Braham for calling that game, and sounds like a fun one over there. It's close, and Braham, such a speedy team. That is really what has, I think, helped them here late in this season. Pine City has got the height advantage by far, but Braham just allowing themselves to just play within themselves and use their team speed to their advantage, and they're doing well here tonight, holding Pine City to 26 first half points. We're just about set to go here in the second half, Pine City, and I really see no need to change anything. You might want to put a few extra guys around Eklund. Tyler Eklund has been doing a good job here tonight for the Braham Bombers, and you might want to put a little bit extra around him. Bryson Lotz, you're going to have to figure out a way not to allow him inside easily, and they did a good job there in the second half, but you can bet that he's probably going to be one of the key guys here in the second half. Logan Laniz, probably won't see him a lot here in the second half, as he has 4 fouls, but watch out for Tyler Eklund here in the second half. For Braham, it's not like they played bad, but one thing that they're going to need to do is eliminate turnovers. If they can eliminate turnovers here in the second half, they would be it'd be a lot different if they even had half the turnovers that they did in the first half. So eliminate some of the turnovers here in the second half, play a little bit cleaner of a game, and they'll try and close that gap, as this shot is up and no good from Luke Wilson, rebounded here by Lotz. Tyler Eklund will try and bring it up the court here in the second half. The Braham Bombers going right to left. Dragons left to right, and that shot is up, no good, but the foul going to go there on Isaiah Haas. 17:39 to go. Isaiah Haas gets his second foul, first team foul of the half. And Jake Tepley is at the line to shoot 2. Shot is up and good. So the Bombers get on the board first here this evening, or this evening, in the second half. And that one's through as well. Tepley makes them both. 45-23, and Lamont Sidney will lead the way to the front court for the Dragons. Gives it off to Luke Wilson. Wilson tries to drive inside, gives it back out to Haas. Now to Sidney. Sidney trying to get around Tepley. Makes a spin move, but Tepley with good defense, and they're bumping bodies a little bit. And Lamont lost the ball for a minute, but he'll give it back to Cummings. And now to Wilson. Wilson gives it out to Haas. Haas to Sidney. Sidney to Cummings here in the near side corner for 3. That's off the mark. And Schusted and Haas will try and rip it away from each other. And it'll be a jump ball. Possession arrow favors the Braham Bombers. Schusted will get it inbounded here to Tyler Eklund. Pine City playing a full court press, and Eklund gets around Charles, and Eklund drives to the front of the court. Now he's going to be double teamed on the near side, and that ball's going to be tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Lamont. Schusted was right there, and it's a fun battle between those two. Is now inbounded here to Eklund. Eklund goes to Tepley. Tepley will get it inside to Lotz. Oh, Lotz left wide open. Oh, and a rare miss by Lotz. Rebounded here by Tepley, and he'll put it up and in for 2. Rare miss there by Lotz, but gave it off to Tepley, and he put it up and in for 2. 45-25. Pine City still with the lead, and Lamont Sidney will drive inside, and he'll put it up and in for 2. He'll get that one to drop. As now the Bombers will take the other way. It's Tyler Eklund who has that ball knocked away, stolen away by Isaiah Haas to Riley Cummings. His shot is up, no good, and it will go back the other way to the Bombers as it's out of bounds. Tyler Eklund will work it up the court on that far side. That ball is tipped by Wilson, but it does get to Tepley. Now back to Eklund. Eklund thought he had a lane. Instead, he'll give it off here to Nelson, and now to Lotz. Lotz spins around, puts up the shot, no good. And Isaiah Haas with the rebound so far. Pine City doing a good job of not letting him anything easy inside. Luke Wilson with a nice move inside to get himself inside, and then he puts up a shot, reverse layup, no good. He'll go to line to shoot 2. Get the first team foul here on the Bombers in this second half. It'll be interesting to see who this one's on. This will be huge. Be on Eklund, so Wilson's first one is up and no good. As we'll see Austinson and Seals check in for Charles and Sidney. I think Wilson might be a little bit in his head. Of course, a competitor like him frustrated that he hasn't got more to fall here tonight, but he'll correct himself on that one and get that one to drop. And get a foul here on Pine City on Ashton Seals, his first team second. Inbound to Tyler Eklund, and Eklund trying to get past Seals. Race to the front court, nearly stolen away by Wilson, but Eklund keeps it alive, gives it off to Schusted, and now inside to Nelson, and that shot is no good, but Nelson going to grab his own rebound, and now it's stolen away here by Isaiah Haas to Luke Wilson. Reverse layup, that's A.J. Austinson. Reverse layup, and then rebounded there by Lyle Nelson, and I believe he stepped down the line as he was looking to pass it, so it will stay with the Dragons in their front court. Wow, what a turn of events there. Get a timeout called here by Pine City. Pine City will use their third timeout of the game with 15:35 to go here in the second half. Dragons lead 48-25 on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics. Dr. Severs is committed to providing world-class orthodontic care in a friendly and comfortable atmosphere. Start today at embracemn.com. So again, Dragons lead 48-25. And again, over on 95.5 FM, KBK, you can watch that Braham Bomber Pine City girls basketball game. Bombers lead right now 32-30 over the Dragons. So Dragons, that's kind of not necessarily a must win, but it almost is just in the terms of conference title-wise. They need a win tonight to nearly wrap up the conference title for themselves, so we'll see. Braham right now doing a good job of just holding their ground at home. Luke Wilson for three, no good. Lyle Nelson with the rebound for the Bombers. They'll give it off to Schusted. Schusted to the front court, stutter steps, gets around one defender. Now he's going to drive inside, and he traveled, and ball will go back to the Dragons. That's a tough one because right after he traveled, I think he might have gotten fouled, but the travel came first. Wilson up the court now for the Dragons. He'll look to Allen for the call, gets the call, and he'll pass it off far side to Austinson. He wanted Haas, but guarded well. Now Austinson will take it inside, give it off near side to Haas. Now back to Wilson. Wilson takes it on the far side to Austinson. Now to Haas, back to Wilson. Back to Haas. Austinson to Seals in that far side corner. No good. And Eklund right there for the rebound for Braham. And he'll quickly bring it up the court. He'll give it off now to Nelson inside to Lotz. Lotz gets around one, but blocked by Riley Cummings. And now Wilson has it. Wilson, step back three. That's off the mark, and Bryson Lotz there for the rebound. To Eklund, to Nelson. Foul on Pine City, I believe. No? Interesting whistle there. I didn't think they were close enough out of bounds, but I'm not 100% sure what that was about. So either way, Braham has it back. Giving it inside to Tepley is Eklund, and Tepley will put it up off the backboard for two. Tepley is kind of come alive here in the second half. 48-27, quickly up the court, go the Dragons, and Seals will get it up over everybody. No good off the backboard. Tepley right there for the rebound. He'll give it off to Eklund. Eklund on the near side, wanted to go inside to Lyle Nelson. He does. Nelson's shot is up and falls through. His first points in the game make it 48-29. Dragons have it back the other way. Austinson back to Wilson, back to Austinson. Austinson inside to Cummings. Now to Seals. Wilson top of the key. Outside to Haas. Now back to Austinson. Now to Wilson. Wilson near side gets a screen from Cummings. He'll give it off to Austinson on the far side. Now to Haas. Haas drives inside. He'll pass it back outside to Wilson. Wilson is okay with being patient. Gives it to Austinson on the far side elbow for three. It's no good. Ashton Seals will grab the rebound, and now he'll give it to Austinson. Inside, no good, but going to get a charge call here on Austinson. That'll be his fourth, and it'll be Cummings, Seals, Haas, and Austinson who will check out. Plajek, Charles, Osmus, and Sidney who check back into the game. So Austinson, we'll see how long he'll have to sit now with 4 fouls. Eklund. Pass is going to be stolen away by Charlie Osmus, but it's stolen right back here by Eklund. And Tepley tries to drive inside for the shot. No good. Lotz got the rebound, and this ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Dragons. Tepley will get a break and a breather. Shu and Linez check in. And also coming to the sideline is Lyle Nelson. This inbound to Lotz, and a three there is short by Linez, rebounded by Mason Charles. He'll give it up to Wilson. Wilson to Osmus, back to Wilson on that far side. Looks for a screen from Sidney. Now on the near side to Osmus. Osmus will give it off far side to Wilson. Wilson now in the far side corner to Nick Plajek. That one's going to roll out of Plajek's hand to Wilson. But Wilson does bring it in now to Charles. Charles near side to Wilson. Wilson trying to drive inside. Gives it off far side to Nick Plajek for three. It's just off the mark. And Schusted there with the rebound for the Braham Bombers. And here come the Bombers, and Eklund. Eklund gives out to Shu. Shu, give it back to Laniz. Laniz goes inside to Schusted. Schusted, nice fake, gives it off to Lotz. Lotz no good on his shot. And rebound still up for grabs. Lotz is going to get it. He'll give it inside to Shu. Shu has that one blocked by Lamont Sidney. It goes out of bounds, so we'll stay with the Bombers, but Sidney just got such length. He's able to almost levitate in the air, and now a steal here by Mason Charles as that one got away from, I think, Schusted on that far side. Now Sidney gives it off far side to Wilson. Eklund nearly had a steal, but just couldn't bring it in. And now 3 for Lamont Sidney. That's no good, and lots right there for the rebound for Braham. The 3 game has not been working in this second half as much as the Dragons would have liked, and going to get a foul here on Pine City, the 4th team foul, and the 2nd there on Mason Charles. 48-29, Dragons still with the lead with 11:19 to go here in the second half. Eklund will give it to Schusted, back to Eklund. Eklund gives it off now to Laniz, back to Eklund. They're trying to find some sort of lane. This ball is poked, and they're going to call kick ball. And a kick ball on Braham. Well, the Dragons will get it off a kick ball. Interesting. 48-29. Clock continues to roll now. Under 11 minutes to go. Luke Wilson will need to hold on to the ball. He'll give it off to Charles, and now to Plajic. And Plajic wasn't ready for that one, and it's going to be stolen away here by Laniz. Laniz, Going to get a foul here on Luke Wilson, his first, team's 5th. Schusted will get set to inbound now for the Bombers, and he'll get it inbounded, but it is stolen away here by Charlie Osmus, his 4th, and now Luke Wilson will drive inside. Tries a nice move, but it's blocked by Lotz, and Lotz another block. He had 2 in the first half, had another one. Luke Wilson inbounds here to Lamont Sidney. He thought about a long 3, gives it back to Wilson on the near side corner. Wilson will work himself out of that corner and now give it off to Sidney on the far side. Sidney had to go up for that pass, but brings it down now to Charles on the near side. Charles will give it off to Wilson. Wilson gives it back top of the key for Mason Charles, who puts up a 3-point shot. That's no good and going to go out of bounds. So the Bombers will get it back, and we're stuck at 48-29. Dragons the lead, but we'll see who can get out of this score first. Ball goes inside to Lotz, and he'll poke it out to Schusted for a 3. That's good. Wow. Lotz lost the ball, and then as he was falling, he just tipped it to Schusted for 3. Wilson will go across the court to Nick Plajic. He fakes the shot. He'll give it off to Osmus, and that was a fancy-looking pass from Plajic, but maybe a little too much on that one. As now Seals and Austinson will check in for Plajic and Charles. Austinson, remember, has 4 fouls here in the game. And one more, and he's going to unfortunately have to sit out the rest of the game. As now the Bombers will work it up the court. Laniz will bounce pass to Eklund on the far side. Eklund, and he's got some nice footwork, and they're going to get him for a travel. Travel call there on Eklund, and all will go back to the Dragons. Dragons still stuck at 48 points, trying to surpass that mark and bring themselves to 50. Wilson gets a screen here from Sidney, and he'll pass it off now to Austinson. A screen from Seals, and it's going to be stolen away here by Schusted. And he'll bring it up the court. Layup no good, a little too much on that one, and then rebound grab there by Shu, and I think he got fouled there by Lamont Sidney. Lamont Sidney tried to come from behind and take it away, but I think he got too much on it, and it'll be his 3rd. Again, the team's 6th as Shu at the line to shoot 2. First one is up and no good. 9:26 to go here. And the second half, Schusted will get a break himself, and in for him is Tanner Doble. Shot is up and no good, and Lamont Sidney will grab the rebound. So 2 opportunities, but 0 for 2 that time by Shu. And it's A.J. Austinson who gives it off far side to Wilson. Now on the far side corner to Osmus. Inside to Sidney. Back outside to Austinson. All the way across the court to Wilson. Wilson brings it down. Gets around a couple of defenders. Gives it to Austinson, who looks for a screen from Seals. Nice screen. Now to Wilson. Wilson gives it off to, Austinson. He went in the near side corner to Osmus, and this ball is stolen away by Doble. He'll give it off to Shu, and that shot is up no good. Lamont Sidney, I don't know if he got a hand on it, but he was close. Double here for Lamont Sidney. Luke Wilson to Charlie Osmus in the far side corner. Now to Lamont Sidney. Lamont Sidney, spin move, gives it back outside to Charlie Osmus for 3. That's no good. Racing after the rebound is A.J. Austinson. He'll bring it in. Gives it off to Luke Wilson. Wilson, they're trying to set something up. I'm just not sure what. And again, if Joe Lattimore, he would know exactly what this offense and defense of scheme is right now. I'm still learning, ladies and gentlemen. Luke Wilson wide open on the far side. He's going to come up short, but Ashton Seals right there for the rebound, and that one's going to go out of bounds. Last touched by the Bombers, so Dragons will catch a break. We'll get a substitution. Isaiah Haas, Mason Charles, Riley Cummings will check in for Charlie Osmus, Ashton Seals, and A.J. Austinson. And it looks like we get a substitution here for the Bombers. Lyle Nelson will check in for Laniz. Inbound to Riley Cummings. Easy. Up and in for 2. Cummings was wide open there, and they finally get off that 48-point mark to 50. And it's 50-32, under 8 minutes to go. Dragons with the lead. Nelson has it. Nearly had it poked out by Wilson, but gets it off to Eklund. Eklund, and their primary ball handler here tonight. He's done a good job, and he'll give it to Nelson. Nelson, bounce pass to Doble. Now on the far side here for Eklund. Eklund fakes the 3. He'll just put up a little floater. No good, and that one's going to be knocked out of bounds by Haas, I believe. So stays with the Bombers. Caleb Schusted back into the game, and he'll look to inbound here for the Bombers. Give it off far side to Shu. He's left wide open. For 3, it's no good. Cummings had a chance at the rebound. It's going to be Schusted instead who grabs it. Now Schusted trying to drive inside. Oh, and looks like we're going to get a tie up there. Jump ball. Possession arrow favors the Dragons. No? Yes. Huh. Interesting. So apparently Dragons tied it up enough on Schusted to where they call it jump ball. Far side 3 for Isaiah Haas comes up nothing, and Lamont Sidney there for the rebound. Wilson and Charles now back to Sidney for 3. That's going to not fall through, and Isaiah Haas got the rebound and going to get a foul there on Lyle Nelson. His 4th, team's 2nd. Eklund and Tepley will check back in for Doble and Shu. Only the 2nd team foul here in the second half for Braham. And Dragons will look to inbound here to Isaiah Haas, the near side for 3. And that ball's on the other side of the basket, no good. Mason Charles with the rebound. We'll give it off now to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson stands top of the key, trying to drive inside. Gives it off far side to Riley Cummings, who thought about 3. Instead gives it back to Luke Wilson. 7 minutes to go, and now we didn't have the clock running. Wow, yeah, the clock wasn't running the whole time. We're going to have to get probably about 20 seconds off the clock there, maybe even more. The clock did not run there. I looked at the clock, it said 7:02, then I looked back at the clock, and it still hadn't run. So got a clock issue now, and they're going to put more time on the clock. Interesting. So what happened was they must have ran it in a stoppage of play when they shouldn't have. No, there we go. Okay. I was going to say, I didn't think they did, but So the clock did not run. We're under 7 minutes to go now and 6:45 and counting. Got it fixed. Luke Wilson gives it off to Isaiah Haas, now to Luke Wilson. And right as soon as they blew that whistle, the Dragons were ready to go. But give credit to Braham here. Just all over them on defense right now. Luke Wilson goes all the way across the court to Lamont Sidney, who keeps it alive and tried to get it back to Isaiah Haas. Lamont Sidney, that ball was just well over his head. He brought it down and did some acrobatics, there we go, to keep that ball alive. He got it to Haas, and it might have been just a little too much for Haas to hang on to, and it will go out of bounds. So Ekman has it, and he'll put up a three. Left-handed three is no good. And we're going to get a foul here on Pine City, I believe. Tough one there on the rebound, but it will send Bombers to the line for a 1-and-1. It'll be on Lamont Sidney, so he now has 4 fouls in the game, 7th for Pine City. And at the line, it is Lyle Nelson for a 1-and-1. Oh. Oh, no. Lamont's going to check out with a tech there. So Lamont Sidney checks out with a technical foul. That'll be his 5th. It'll be a 1-and-1, but Braham will hang on to possession. I didn't hear or see what happened. No good. So Braham will get possession. Austinson will come in for Lamont Sidney. Oh, they get another one. Caleb Schusted will come for one. I believe they'll still have possession. And he makes it. Oh, so they get 2 1-and-1? So Schusted will make them both, and again, possession goes back to Braham. I did not hear or see what happened for Lamont to get that technical, but he'll have to sit for the rest of the game, 6 minutes. Oh, I will respectfully disagree with that one. I think Wilson, I think Nelson was as much into Wilson as Wilson was into Nelson on that one. Respectfully disagree, though. So Wilson, his 2nd, now Dragons' 9th. Shot is no good, and Riley Cummings brings down the rebound for Pine City. Luke Wilson makes a move, drives inside, gives it back out to Isaiah Haas, far side 3. That's going to be no good. Top of the, that should have, I thought, out of bounds. No, apparently not. So it's rebounded here by A.J. Austinson. Gives it all the way to the near side corner for Mason Charles. Isaiah Haas to A.J. Austinson, who tries to drive inside. He'll go back outside, and no one there as Caleb Schusted will get the steal. And now to Lyle Nelson, who puts it up and in for 2. Make it 50-36, and the Dragons not done much here in the second half. 5 points to the Braham 15. Struggling to get anything going on offense right now, and Braham slowly marching their way back. Austinson near side 3. Can't get things going. Lots with the rebound now. My goodness. Under 5 minutes to go, and Braham's only 14 points down, and Lots will that ball inside, and Isaiah Haas is going to be called for a foul, so Lots will go to the line to shoot 2. 3rd foul on Haas, and the 10th team foul. Pine City struggling with fouls here in the second half, and they just come at very, very bad timing. Lots is at the line to shoot 2 now. First one is up and no good. That one is up and no good as well. Rebound for Mason Charles. A.J. Austinson and Luke Wilson far side. Wanted a 3, but guarded well by Schusted. He gets a screen from Cummings. Now gives it off to Austinson. Austinson gives it off to Wilson. Wilson again Far side for three. From the elbow, and he finally gets one to fall here for the Dragons, and it's 53-36. Eklund trying to work up the court with it, gives it off to Schusted. Schusted give it off to Lyle Nelson. Nelson tries to go inside to Lotz. It's stolen away here by A.J. Austinson. Quickly up the court to Luke Wilson. No good, but Riley Cummings right there to put it back in for two. Schusted on the far side trying to get around A.J. Austinson. Number 12 is going at it. That's a good battle between them two. And it's going to go out of bounds off of Schusted and back to the Dragons. 55-36. And as soon as I say they couldn't get any offense going, all of a sudden they started rolling. Mason Charles checks out, and for him is Ashton Seals. Luke Wilson on that far side. His team leads 55-36. Now to Austinson. Austinson screen from Seals. Back over to Wilson. Wilson, long three again. It's good. Luke Wilson, NBA three. 58-36. Wilson has maybe found his groove again here this evening. But Eklund will give it inside to Lotz, and Lotz will put it in for two. That was an awkward angle for Lotz. I don't know how Lotz got that to fall, but he did. 58-38 is the score. Braham is going to call their third timeout. They'll be left with two. Under 5 minutes to go, and the Dragons now back up to a 20-point lead, 58-38. And that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, helping you find a smile you embrace forever. Find out more at embracemn.com. 58-38. With under 3.5 to go. Wilson on the far side, screen from Cummings, now to Austinson. Austinson looks for a screen from Seals. He'll get around one defender, gets around Shue, now gives it off to Wilson on the far side. Shue has a spin move put on him by Wilson, but Shue does a good job of just staying with Wilson all the way across the court to Haas now. Austinson nearly had that one stolen away. Great job to hold on to it. Goes inside to Cummings, who gets that one to fall. That one looked like it might just rattle out, but stays home, and 10 points now for Riley Cummings. 6 here in the second half. He has 6 rebounds. Tepley will drive inside, and that's going to be a charge, and right there was A.J. Austinson, and Tepley will get his second foul, and only the Braham Bombers' third team foul here in the second half. So 60-38, the Dragon lead, and Charles checks in for Seals, and Osmus checks in for Haas. Under 2:50 to go now in the game. Luke Wilson screen from Cummings, now to Austinson. He thought about three, but he'll pull it down, and he's going to be double teamed, and he'll get it to Charles all the way back over to Wilson, and NBA three again is through. Luke Wilson, he's been in a little bit of a funk the last couple games, but he has certainly shot himself out of it, as he's now hit 3 threes in a row from all beyond the arc. Tepley beyond the arc three is just off the mark, rebounded here by Charlie Osmus. I mean, Luke Wilson's threes have been NBA range. He'll take one again. That one's going to come up short. Charlie Osmus, that ball still up for grabs on the rebound. Mason Charles will get the rebound to Luke Wilson. He had a chance at three, but unfortunately he traveled though. 63-38 is the lead. Nick Plajek, Ashton Seals in for Mason Charles and Riley Cummings. Also into the game for the first time here tonight is Matthew Blake. We're in that number 10 for Pine City. Lots inside for the Bombers. Gives it off to Tepley. Reverse layup, no good, and rebounded there by Nick Plajek. Under 2 minutes to go. Seals gives it to Austinson. Austinson looks for a screen from Plajek. Now on the far side to Seals. Screen from Blake. Seals gives it to Austinson, and Austinson will give it off to Seals on the far side. He thought about three again, but Eklund is right there, guarding him well, and Tepley read that one like a book, but it will go out of bounds, and I think it will go to the Bombers. Checking in for the Braham Bombers is going to be number 3, Alex Snedeker. And also number 11 in Trey Nielsen. This ball nearly stolen away, but we're going to get a foul call on Pine City. So Lots will go to the line to shoot 2, and who is this on? They get Matthew Blake, I think, is what I seen. Yes, they did. So Matthew Blake with his first. Lott's first one is, oh my goodness, rattles home. And that shot was it was good. So Lots makes them both. And looks like basically JV squad's in for both of these teams here tonight. As we get set to end the game, Blake is in, as well as Eli Fromm. Also into the game is Derek, no, I believe that, shoot. Briar Willard, I believe, is number 3 here for Pine City. This ball nearly stolen away, but Matthew Blake keeps it alive. Jace Peterson with it. On the far side, Willard with it. He gives it off to Eli Fromm. Matthew Blake to Willard. Willard to, that's Peterson, not Fromm. Peterson drives inside, spin move, gives it to Blake. Blake on the near side corner. He'll dribble out of the corner, and Dragons will just dribble the rest of the clock out. They lead 63-40. And with under 10 seconds to go, and 5, and that is your final. Dragons get the victory here tonight over the Braham Bombers, 63-40. So a victory here in the conference for the Pine City Dragons will hopefully keep their hopes alive at a conference title if the East Central Eagles fell tonight. But that East Central Eagle team, very good. So the Dragons get the victory here tonight, 63-40. We'll be right back after a word from our fine sponsors. And we'll be back with our A&W Player of the Game, as well as a word from head coach Allen. You're listening to Boys Basketball on WCMP.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer. That signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat. And they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
This high school sports season, Wellia Health wants to remind you that they want to help your athletes stay in the game. Sports medicine services are available at every Wellia Health campus. Whether it's the young athlete, the weekend warrior, or the accomplished athlete, injuries can happen. Get back in the game by calling the sports medicine experts at Wellia Health, 320-679-1313. Wellia Health. Live life well.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Isanti has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment. Highway 65 in Isanti. Or visit minnesotaequipment.com.
Back here on 106.5 FM, AM 1350. We're now joined by our A&W player of the games. That is Riley Cummings. First of all, Riley, congrats on the win here tonight. And how did it feel to get a conference win over the Braham Bombers, which has kind of turned into a rivalry here over the years?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. We came to this game, we really wanted to execute and just make sure we didn't slow down and not play how we normally do.
Absolutely, and you guys hit a little bit of a lull there in that second half, but you were able to get yourselves out of that. Talk about this team and how they've been able to come down from deficits like that one in the first half and just continue to roll.
Yeah, so once we get some stops on defense, it's pretty easy to, well, not easy, but it's a lot more, I don't know.
It certainly helps the team get rolling on offense, that's for sure. And now moving forward, you guys get to face off against another section opponent in Malacca on Friday. Talk about what you guys are going to do here to prepare for them.
That's going to be a big one for us. That's one of those games where we're playing a bigger school, so we're going to have to come out hard and be ready.
Well, thank you so much, Riley, for joining me, and congrats on the win.
Thank you.
That, again, was our A&W player of the game, Riley Cummings, and we'll now be joined by the head coach, Kyle Allen. And, Coach, win here tonight, another conference win on the season. And talk about in that first half, you guys were down by 4, but then went on a 14-0 run. And talk about just letting those guys kind of get themselves out of it.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the game. We have something we want to execute. And we don't need to call a timeout. We know what we need to do. We have the first couple rotations ready to roll, and so at that point in time, you really just have to let the game play itself out. It's about not jumping the gun, not getting overly aggressive one way or the other. Trusting your preparation, trusting the game plan, and this group has in some of these conference games have found themselves down a few in the first half, and they've continued to trust in what we're feeding them, and again, the hope is that we end up on the right side at the end of the night.
For sure, and Riley Cummings, our A&W player of the game, such a big presence inside. Had another tough battle against Lots here of Braham. Talk about what his presence inside means to this team.
Yeah, I mean, Riley would probably be the A&W player of the game every night, the way that he rebounds the ball and the things that he does for us. Young kids out there should watch him and watch what he does, and I wish they could see all the work that he did in the last 9-12 months in the weight room, and how he's taken that and allowed that to be a catalyst for him to be able to do and fill this huge role for us. Rebounding is the most important thing that we do. It's the most important thing that we teach. It's the most important thing to our system, and so it's invaluable to have a kid like Riley Cummings who's willing to go out there and do that, even though it doesn't always get the most credit. He's going out there and doing it every night, and he's been as tough a rebounder I think I've had in my career here in Pine City.
Yeah, he provides a big presence down there in the paint, and a lot of times he doesn't even get the stats down on the sheet, but he's setting it up for other guys to get those stats, whether it's rebounds, whether it's the points on the board. He does such a good job of just playing smart and playing fundamental basketball.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about that kind of length and again, the athleticism that he's added to his frame, and him and Luke Wilson have been in the weight room, and there's a reason why they can play the minutes they can. A lot of kids want to play a lot of minutes, and that's good, but you got to be able to play all those minutes. And those two guys put down quite a foundation. Starting last at the end of last season, those two were in the weight room almost every day, and doing workouts and coming in before school and going after school and in the summers. And so they're able to do the things that they do because of their dedication to their craft and their dedication to the physicalness of the weight room.
For sure, and then now, again, you guys get a little bit of a break here until Friday, which you'll travel to Malacca for another big section game. Talk about what that one means for this team.
Yeah, Malacca, I mean, they're as good as they get. I mean, again, in our section, we always think that there's any number of double-digit teams that could be there at the end of the show, and Malacca's absolutely one of them. They got a heck of a class of seniors this year. They have a ton of length. They have a ton of athleticism, and they know how to use it. And they've been playing together a long time. They're real tough, so we're excited for the challenge. I think it's an early game, so we're heading over there on Friday, and we get to see how we match up and see where we stack up.
And the story of the year, I think, is just this new starting five for you and how this team has meshed along the way with about a month left before we get started in playoffs. How do you feel this team has done from the beginning of the season till now?
Yeah, I think last night's game was a really good barometer of that, and even you could see some parallels in tonight's game from the first matchup with Braham. It's all about growth. How are we playing today versus how we were playing 2 months ago, and the more time that they're together, the more time that they are in our system and they're learning it, the better. And, of course, we wish that we could do that all the time and have that years and years and years in advance. And some groups you get to and some groups you don't. And so, it's high school basketball. From where they started this season to where they're at now, they are definitely gelling as a group, and it's a lot of fun to see.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, congratulations on the win here tonight, and good luck going forward.
Appreciate you, and thank you guys for all your coverage.
Absolutely. That, again, was the head coach, Kyle Allen, and, again, the A&W player of the game, Riley Cummings, joined us there. Again, this team has done such a good job this year of just continuing to mesh and play so well. And as we take a look at the stat leaders on the other side here for Braham, 6 points in the second half for Jake Tepley. That'll give him 9 on the game. Tyler Eklund will finish with 6, and 8 here for Caleb Schusted, and 4 for Lyle Nelson. He was held out without a point in the first half, but finishes with 4. 9 for Bryson Lotz, and he was a big presence inside. And he led them with rebounds. He led them with about 9 of them here in this game, and 5 for Schusted and 4 there for Eklund. They wound up getting 5 steals here in the second half to a total of 8. They had 3 total blocks in this game, all three from Bryson Lotz. And they did a good job here in the second half. Only grabbed 3 team fouls in the second half for a total of 13. On the other side, leading the way for the Pine City Dragons was Lamont Sidney with 18. Luke Wilson had 15 and 3. He had 9 points here in the second half, 3 threes in a row. So 15 for him, 10 for both Riley Cummings and A.J. Austinson. And then we go to Mason Charles with 5, 3 for Charlie Osmus, and 2 there for Nick Plajek. Leading the way rebound-wise, Mason Charles, he had 10 for Lamont Sidney as well, and 6 for Riley Cummings. They had, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steals here in the second half for a total of 18. Leading the way, though, was Isaiah Haas with 6 of those steals, 4 for Charlie Osmus. And then they did also have 2 blocks. And then here in the second half, it was a little bit of a struggle in the second half to kind of stay out of foul trouble. They had 11 total team fouls here in the second half for a total of 19 in the game. But still, a win is a win, as they say. And the Dragons get another victory here to move to 11-9 on the season. And they stay at 8-2 in the conference. And I'm trying to find an app that will give me an update on that East Central Rush City game. But East Central, I just got a word from Joe Lattimore. Thanks so much to Joe Lattimore for giving me that. East Central lost tonight. This puts, Pine City and East Central are now nearly tied at the top of the conference. East Central needs to lose one more game, and Pine City will, and if Pine City wins out, the Dragons are going to take the conference crown. Wow. Rush City again. The Tigers, you play them at home, it's a different story versus when you play them on the road. It is a much different story. So East Central loses tonight. Wow. My goodness. So that'll change things up. By the way, the Pine City girls beat Braham 56-48. Wow, what a close one there for Pine City, but they come out on top, and that almost wraps up their conference crown for them this year. So interesting. This really changes things up here in the conference standings. So thanks again to Joe Lattimore for giving me the update on that East Central game, and to Adam Hefty, who called that Pine City girls basketball game. Appreciate him for doing that. And wow, East Central losing again here tonight, and that'll be interesting. That shakes up the conference now, and one more loss, and if Pine City wins out, Pine City takes the conference crown. Holy moly. That's why you got to love basketball here, is because You just never know. You just never know. But for Pine City coming up, as I mentioned, they will play again on Friday in Malacca against the Wolves. That'll be an early one, 5:45 start for that game as we look to the Braham Bombers, who fall to 5-13 on the year. Unfortunately, just not the season they would have hoped for, but they've got a lot of good talent that they will return next year. For them, they will go to East Central on Friday, and that'll be an interesting game because they still play 2 more times, including the one on Friday. So if Braham can go and get an upset, not only would that help Braham going forward, but I think that would just give them so much more confidence because it's a section game, and then it's also a conference game. So getting a conference win and a section win just gives you so much more confidence going forward because the next week, Braham starts it off with a game against Mille Lacs at home, against McGregor, and then against East Central. So 3 home games next week against Mille Lacs, McGregor, and East Central. So a win on Friday against East Central for Braham, I think, would just be huge because then you get a favorable schedule for the next 3 games. I shouldn't say favorable with East Central, but you get to be at home, so that would make it a little bit better for the Braham Bombers. So interesting as how this conference will wind up being. Of course, it could just wind up being East Central just goes out and absolutely takes care of their next 3 conference opponents. Coming up for our broadcast here, we won't be having any games tomorrow, but we'll start up again on Thursday with boys basketball. Mora taking on Piers over there on Nice 95.5. And then girls basketball, Braham will host East Central on Thursday. Then on Friday, boys hockey, Pine City will take on Mountain West Tonka. Then girls basketball, Pine City will host Minnehaha Academy. And more girls basketball, Mora will take on Zimmerman. So that's what's coming up for our broadcasts. And in this one, the Dragons get the victory 63-40 over the Braham Bombers. Stay tuned to the morning shows on 95.5 FM KBEK with Rockin' Robin Riley for your local sports update at 7:30 and 8:30. And then over on 100.9 FM with Joshua Miron at 7:45 and 8:45. Again, those will be your local sports updates. You'll get the update from this game and other games around the local listening area. I want to thank all of you who tuned in here tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate that, whether you were listening on the radio or watching on our YouTube. If you were watching it on our YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, that red subscribe button on the YouTube. That way you get notified anytime that we go live with a local sporting event. So go ahead, like it, and subscribe it because then, again, you will get notified anytime we go live with a local sporting event. Thanks to all the fine sponsors who sponsored this broadcast as well. We couldn't do it without them, so thanks so much to all of our fine sponsors. The final one more time here in Pine City. The Dragons 63, the Bombers 40. Remember to be kind to everybody. You never know what someone is going through, and your kindness could make their day. For WCMP, I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman. Have a great rest of your night. I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman. Have a great rest of your night.